video was requested, and I thought that it was a really great request, and I had been asked to just talk about Tayto's adoption story. As a lot of you know, I adopted Tayto a little while ago, and he's been so awesome to have, and you've seen him in my videos, but I haven't really talked about his adoption story and what it was like going through the process of adopting a little doggy. I really wanted to make this video for people who are maybe considering adopting, or maybe you're just curious about Tayto's story and how we got to now. To make this a little bit easier to understand, because there was a lot going on, I'm gonna break this down into before, during, and after Tayto's adoption. So here we go. This is all about you, Tayto. Adoption was something that I had been considering for a while, especially after my mom took Nugget full time. And to be clear, which I think I was clear about this before, but I've seen comments from people saying, well, you better not get rid of Tayto like you got rid of Nugget. That is not what happened at all. I was perfectly capable of still taking care of Nugget, but my mom bonded with Nugget and Nugget bonded with her. And because she's at a different place in her life, it was something that was really special for her to have an animal. And I saw how much Nugget brought to her life, and I saw how happy he was, and I wanted my mom to be happy and Nugget to be happy. I still get to see him, I still get to spend time with him, and because my mom took Nugget full time, I kind of had this hole in my life, and I wanted a little buddy for myself. I was really open to adopting a dog or a cat, and I was a little bit more hesitant about a dog just because I had never had a dog ever before. I never grew up with dogs in my household, so taking care of a dog would be something completely new and different for me. I really wanted to understand more what it was like to have a dog, and my girlfriend has had a dog for about 3 years, Loki, who you have also seen in my videos, and Loki is also a rescue. And the more I spent time with my girlfriend, and therefore Loki, I began to understand a little bit more what it would be like to actually have my own dog. And then I started to ask my girlfriend if I could take on more responsibilities with Loki. So I would watch Loki when my girlfriend wasn't around or she was off doing something. I would offer to take her out on walks, to feed her, to just do the things that you do as a dog owner, to just kind of become familiar with what it's like to have a dog around on a more regular basis. I started to think more seriously about adopting a dog after some months passed, and I started to realize, okay, I think that if I have a dog that is kind of similar in temperament to Loki and has similar needs to Loki, I think that this is something that I could definitely do. I went in person to different shelters, different adoption fairs that independent rescues were having, and I did this almost every single weekend for months. And I would find this information online. It's really easy to just search for what you're looking for, like adoption fair, or looking up local shelters in the area. And sometimes not in the area. I would drive to different places and just see the different kinds of dogs that were available for adoption. I would talk to the people that worked at these places, and I would try to understand the different kinds of dogs and the different kinds of personalities that are out there, because every dog is different, every dog has different needs, and every dog has a different story, especially when you are looking into rescuing a dog. What I saw is that a lot of these dogs have experienced some level of trauma, and that degree of trauma varies from dog to dog. That is definitely something that I seriously considered. You know, what is it going to be like if I adopt a dog that has experienced significant trauma? What are its needs going to be? Can it be around other dogs? I also considered different sizes, different breeds. I eventually settled on wanting a smaller dog kind of like a Pomeranian. I wasn't dead set on only a Pomeranian. I researched the breed, and Pomeranians just seemed like a really good fit for the dog that I was looking for. And so that helped me narrow things down a little bit. Before I completely decided that I was ready for a dog, I thought about things like, who would take care of this dog when I travel? Would I be able to spend a lot of time with the dog? How long would the dog be left alone? What could potential health issues be? And will this dog get along with Loki? These are all things that I really thought about, and I'm really glad that I did think about them, because a lot, if not all of these questions very commonly pop up on applications when you go to adopt a dog. So I found Tayto through an online search, and I would do this pretty regularly. I would just search online to see if there were any updates with dogs in the area. I found Tayto through an independent rescue called Second Chances Rescue. So I got in touch with the rescue and talked to the owner of the rescue and just learned a little bit more about Tayto. So that's when I found out that he was on a kill line. So she had taken him from a shelter where he was going to be euthanized. I had mentioned this before, but a lot of you asked why Tayto was on a kill line, because when you look at him, you're like, oh my gosh, how is that dog on a kill line? There are so many dogs like Tayto who find themselves on kill lines. And Tayto specifically was on a kill line because he had previously been with people who shouldn't have had a dog like Tayto. After being released by his previous owners, he was labeled as aggressive. I can sit here and say now that he is definitely not aggressive, but that kind of behavior can come out and present itself when an animal is not placed in a home that is conducive to their temperament, to their breed, to their needs, etc., etc. There are different reasons why dogs may exhibit aggression, but I can say that I have not seen an ounce of aggression from Tayto. But I definitely can see that he has had some trauma in his life. He's really sensitive to things over his head. He kind of, gets a little bit scared and tries to cover and protect his head if anything moves too quickly around him. And it's not just like oh, I am surprised and startled by that movement. It is a real fear from past experiences where he goes into a position where he tries to protect his head. So that shows me that something, I don't know exactly what, I can make some guesses, and I'm sure you can too, some not so great things were happening to Tayto, and I don't blame him for eventually becoming a little bit aggressive, because I would be upset and pissed off and scared too. So after talking to the owner, she said that I could come out and see him in person at an adoption fair. I drove out a couple of hours with my girlfriend and Loki to go and meet Tayto in person. And it was really important that any other dogs come along that would regularly be around Tayto. So that's why Loki also came. And when I got to the adoption fair, I saw Tayto and immediately fell in love with him because we made eye contact. And that was really the first time that any dog that I had seen in all of these shelters really made eye contact with me, and we were looking at each other, and I just melted. So then I got to have a one-on-one with Tayto where we got to spend some time together and then bring Loki in and see how the two of them got along. And they seemed to get along with each other really, really well. There were no red flags. They were just kind of circling around each other, sniffing each other's butts as dogs do, and just really chilled out. And it was really awesome just getting to talk to the people who were at the adoption fair, both the owner and the volunteers that were there. It was really clear that all of these people really care about dogs and really want to find the right home for these dogs. What I love about Second Chances is that the owner was really clear to me that this was not a first come, first serve rescue. This was about finding the right home for the dog, because different rescues and different different shelters work in different ways. So sometimes it's on a first come, first serve basis, and there is a wait list for dogs. The timing in which you filled an application didn't better your chances for getting the dog. She said she'd have an answer in a couple of days and to give her a call, but until then we just kind of had to hang tight. And I was like an emotional wreck during this time because I really, really wanted him, but I had also experienced what it was like to go down the application process with other dogs, because previously to this, I had been put on wait lists, or I had filled out an application and then discovered that the dog's specific needs were not in line with what I could give that dog. Things didn't work out and line up in the past, but I felt like this could be the time where it really lined up, but I also didn't want to get my hopes up. So I was trying to like maintain this like level of excitement, yet also try to be realistic about the very real possibility that I would not get him. So needless to say, I was a wreck and I had to keep myself distracted the best that I could, but my brain always went back to thinking about him, and the more I thought about it, the more I just wanted him. It was really, really, really tough. So when the time came to call the owner, I was so nervous because I was like, this is the moment of truth. Oh my God. After talking to her on the phone, she said that she had considered other people, but she thought that he would really do well with me and also around Loki and my girlfriend, and she thought that I would provide the perfect home for him. Because what Tayto really wants at the end of the day is to just hang out with somebody all day. And I take Tayto with me everywhere that I go, and I try to make sure that, you know, if I'm eating somewhere, the place has a patio and I can take Tayto there as well. I really wanted to have a dog that I could take with me, and Tayto is a dog that wants to be taken everywhere. But there was still another hoop that I had to jump through, and that was a home check, which is something that is really common, especially if you are adopting from an independent rescue. From what I've seen, most of them require a home check. So that's where they come over to where you're living and they just make sure that it is conducive to having a dog. That was the last thing that I had to pass, and I was so excited but also so nervous because I was so close. The home check included bringing him over and having him just exist in the space, see how he reacts to it, see how he reacts to Loki being there, us being there. If everything looked good, then she would leave him with me at that point. So I was super excited, which is why I went out and got supplies just in case. But it was still like oh my God, there's still like a thread of this might not happen. So I was still really nervous too at the same time. Didn't really sleep, obviously. So the owner came over with Tayto, and for the most part, he seemed really cool with everything, was cool being around Loki, was cool being around us. That is when I signed the adoption paperwork and Tayto officially became my little buddy, my little doggy. It was so exciting because when I got off the phone with her, when she said that all that needed to happen next was a home check, I literally jumped up and down and screamed. That's how excited I was. So you can imagine how excited I was when Tayto actually became mine and I adopted him. It was so, so special. Along with the adoption paperwork, there was also an adoption fee, which is considered a donation to the rescue. And a lot of rescues and shelters work this way, but that goes right back into supporting the rescue or the shelter so they can do more work for more animals. The first thing I did after I got Tayto was I went out and got him a harness and a leash. He had like a little collar and a little leash, but I wanted something that was more permanent, and I didn't get one beforehand because I didn't know what was going to fit him. So that was the first thing that I did. I wanted to be able to take him out to go to the bathroom, take him out on walks, just take him out so he could get used to his new environment and not have to worry. The only other thing that was very apparent at the beginning of having Tayto was that he was just a little bit skittish, which I totally expected, and I was told that that would probably happen. He was hesitant when it came to eating. He was just hesitant in general, but he was still really friendly and wanted to cuddle. But it just wasn't at the level that it is now, because obviously he's super comfortable now. But at the beginning, he was just kind of like a little bit more questioning of things because he was getting used to it all. For the most part, Loki and Tayto get along so well. They play really well. They have their hyper moments together, and it's so cute to watch. They sleep together. It is absolutely adorable. But then there's that like 1% where they have their little scuffles, which is totally normal. They just annoy each other, or maybe one wants to play and the other doesn't, and you know, a little scuffle happens. But that is totally expected, especially when there's another dog. And I've also thought about how it might have been easier for Tayto to get onto a routine because Loki was on a routine, and so he was able to see, oh, this other dog that I'm getting along with is doing these things, so maybe it's okay. I don't actually know what was going through his mind, but maybe seeing Loki eating and going to the bathroom and, you know, getting treats and rewarded for certain things, it kind of helped him settle in a little bit more. And of course, he got showered with so much love from everybody in my life. Everybody has become obsessed with Tayto because look at him. How could you not be obsessed with that little fluff ball? That is pretty much Tayto's adoption story. I wish he could tell his story. I really do. Like, sometimes my girlfriend and I just sit around and we're like, we wish that Loki and Tayto could tell us about their past lives, because we would really love to know, to just know more about them and understand why they are the way that they are. And I'm sure if any of you have rescued a dog, you probably have the same thoughts. Am I right? Please tell us we're not the only ones that are sitting around thinking about what our dog's previous lives were like. But I'm so glad that this video was requested. It has been the greatest joy having Tayto around, and it has just been so awesome for me to just see how much I have opened up and how much love I have to give him and how he reciprocates that back. It's really, really special, and I can tell that he just loves his new life, and he loves his new best friend Loki, and he loves just being around people all the time, and I love having him with me. I would definitely say at this point we have bonded, and I am one of those people that is absolutely obsessed with their dog because I think about him way too much throughout the day, and I am just obsessed with like little things about him, like his ears, the way his fur falls, just the way his tail curls, his little butt, and the way that he walks. Like, I love him, and he has brought so much into my life, and I just hope that he enjoys his life with us. So if you are considering rescuing a dog, I definitely recommend it. It has been one of the best things and one of the best decisions that I have ever made. But definitely make sure that you give yourself time to really think about the responsibilities that come with having a dog, and especially rescuing a dog. I would really encourage you to steer away from making impulsive decisions, because a lot of these dogs have been through a lot, and they deserve a thoughtful human who is going to give them a stable, loving home and also meet their needs as well, because each dog has different needs. The adoption process varies from person to person, but my experience was very up and down. I definitely went down the line with other dogs. I filled out applications, I did meet and greets with other dogs, and they just didn't work out. Or when I found out the specific needs of the dogs, I realized they should be in another home because I cannot fulfill those dogs' needs. So it was a very emotional experience for me, filled with lots of excitement and also feeling discouraged at the same time, and being let down and disappointed and sad. While that may not be your experience, also prepare yourself for the fact that that could be your experience. If you do feel discouraged, because I definitely went through moments where I was like, oh my God, this isn't gonna happen. The universe doesn't want me to have a dog. I went through multiple moments like that. My girlfriend can definitely verify that. And it was actually her who suggested that I take small little breaks from searching, and it really did help a lot. So I didn't give up my search completely. I would just take a little break, so I wouldn't obsessively look every single day, because that's what I was doing. So if you do find yourself in that place, my best advice is to keep going. Take a little break, but don't give up completely. Try and have patience with the process, because just because what you want isn't happening right now doesn't mean it will never happen. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you found it helpful or just interesting to watch in some way. And if you would like to check out the rescue where I got Tayto from, I will put their link down below. And if you go onto their Facebook page and actually search back in their feed, you can see the before and after photos of Tayto. But you can see his before photo when he was on the kill line to becoming adopted. It breaks my heart to see his before picture, but it makes me even more grateful to have him, because he really is a special little soul and a special little fur ball, and I just can't imagine my life without him now. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Bye!